This is Chapter 1, Section 5 Notes. We're going to start with a couple of properties. The first property is called the inverse property of addition. This is what happens when you add a positive number plus the same number that is negative. So something like 14 plus negative 14, it'll always equal 0. Negative 2 plus positive 2 will always equal 0. That's called the inverse property of addition. For subtraction, when you subtract a number, it's the same thing as adding the negative or opposite. So 3 minus 5 is the same thing as 3 plus negative 5. Same way that 2 minus negative 4 is the same as 2 plus 4. I believe in middle school they taught you with keep, change, change. So you change the subtraction to an addition and you change the negative 4 to a positive 4. So next we're going to be adding real numbers. So what is the sum? So for this first part you have negative 12 plus 7. So adding those together you should get negative 5. Negative 18 plus negative 2 will give you negative 20. Negative 4.8 plus 9.5 will give you 4.7. And this next one, you're adding fractions. So 3/4 plus negative 5/6. You have to find a common denominator. So 18 24ths plus negative 20 24ths will give you negative 2 24ths. Your common denominator stays the same. Now, you can simplify negative 2 24ths into negative 1/12. As a decimal, that would be negative 0.083 repeated, but because it started out with fractions, I would like you to keep your answer as a fraction. Okay, so that's adding numbers. Then we go to subtracting numbers. So negative 8 minus negative 13. So I'm going to keep, change, change. So negative 8 plus 13 gives me 5. And then 3.5 minus 12.4 will give me negative 8.4.
So problem 2C is negative 3/4 minus 5/12. Now there's a couple ways that you can do this problem. You can use decimals by translating the fraction into decimal form. So if I did 3/4, that comes out as 0.75. However, if I do 5/12, so 5 divided by 12, that gives me this long decimal, and it's actually rounded at the end. That makes it somewhat difficult to keep accurately in my calculator. So instead of using the decimal forms of these numbers, I'm actually going to keep them as fractions. So to do this, I'm going to type these into my calculator as fractions. So I'm going to start with the negative. So it's going to be negative 3. And then I'm going to use this ABC button. That'll give me a backwards L. That's actually a fraction on this calculator. And then I hit 4. So this is negative 3/4. And then it'll be minus 5/12. So 5 and then the ABC button again and 12. And then I hit enter and it'll tell me that it is negative 1 and 1/6. So I put negative 1 and 1/6. You can also do this by hand by changing this denominator to 12 by multiplying the top and the bottom by 12, but you don't need to as long as you can use your calculator.
And then 4.8 minus negative 8.7, again, keep, change, change, and that'll be 13.5. So this next question is an application problem. So this is like a story problem. It says a reef explorer dives 25 feet to photograph brain coral, then rises 16 feet to travel over a ridge before diving 47 feet to survey the base of the reef. Then the diver rises 29 feet to see an underwater cavern. What is the location of the cavern in relationship to the sea level? So the hint that I give you is that it's really helpful if you draw a diagram. So I drew a diagram just by reading back through the description. So a reef diver dives 25 feet. So here's my little diver diving 25 feet to see brain coral. And then he rises 16 feet to travel over a ridge, before diving 47 feet to survey the base of the reef. The diver then rises 29 feet to see an underwater cavern. So now with this little diagram, I can say or figure out what the difference is between the sea level and that cavern by doing just a little bit of math. So he dives 25 feet, so that's negative 25, and then rises 16, so plus 16. So the ridge is going to be at negative 9 feet below sea level, which makes sense. And then he dives another 47 feet, so that's minus 47 feet. So the base of the coral is at negative 56 feet below sea level. And then he rises 29 feet for the cavern. So the cavern is negative 27 feet. So that means from the sea level to go directly to the cavern, you just have to go down 27 feet.